Hello boys and girls, it's Thursday the 25th of February today, and today we're going to be thinking about the bar charts that we created yesterday. We're going to be writing our own questions about them today. And I say that we can think about the language that we use when we're using statistics and data, and it's just so that we can kind of like question what we've done really. So, but before we start anything, we always do a little warm up. Okay, your starter today, I'll zoom in a little bit on this one. Okay, your starter is, have a look at all of these numbers. What I want you to do, think about the 5 times the table, think about the multiples of 5, and then write down the ones which you can see, which are in the 5 times table, multiples of 5. Okay, so pause the video here, write down all of the numbers that you know are in the 5 times table. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1, go for it. Okay, children, how did you get on? Could you remind yourself of all the numbers that are in the 5 times table? I'm sure you did a really, really good job. Okay, I'm going to circle some of them for you. If I make a mistake, don't forget you're allowed to shout out at your screen. Okay, good. First one. Nice and easy. 5. 15. 10. 25, 55, 18, 40, 30, 50, and 35. That looks like all of the numbers in the 5 times table, doesn't it? You're right. Number 18 isn't. Mr. Cottle, what are you doing? That's just in the 2 times table, the 6 times table, the 3 times table, the 9s, and the 18 times table. What am I thinking? Well, if you got that right, you can give yourself a house point. Well done. Let's just have a little look at all of these numbers in the 5 times table. If we look at the ones column, think about our place value, 10s and 1s, remember? 10s and 1s, 10s and 1s, 1s, 10s and 1s, 10s and 1s, 10s and 1s. Oh dear, not sure what's going on there. 10s and 1s, 10s and 1s, 10s and 1s. If you look at the ones, you can see that we've got a 5, a 0 to make a multiple of 10, a 5, a 0, a multiple of 10, 5, a 0, a multiple of 10, a 5, and a 0 to make a multiple of 10. So in the 5 times table, if you were counting up, you would see a pattern. You'd see 5, then you'd see a tens number, a multiple of 10, where a 1 is a place value holder in the ones column. Then we get to 15, and then 20, and then 25, and then 30. So it alternates between 5 in the ones column, and then a multiple of 10. Okay? Well done, boys and girls, you're doing great. So, today, we're going to be thinking about writing some questions. Okay, writing some questions about our bar charts. So at the start of the week, we looked at pictograms and answering questions about that. Then on the Tuesday, we looked at bar charts and answering questions. Yesterday, we looked at recording some information about the most votes and then presenting that as a bar chart. So what I want you to do today is to think about writing some questions about the bar chart that you created yesterday. So you will need that in front of you, okay, in order to finish this lesson. And these are the following words we're going to use to help us, okay? And I'm going to go through them now. Most means the largest amount, which was the most popular, okay? That's always to do with having the largest amount. The least is the complete opposite. It's the smallest amount. Biggest, again, largest. Smallest, the least. More than, we think about more than as a number line. So if I've got 9 here and 15 here, how much more is 15 than 9? We would say 6, okay? So you could say which animal had more votes than another one. You could say less than. How much less would that be? You could say, well, what's the difference between this choice and this choice? And you'd subtract the two numbers. So again, difference, if we were drawing a number line, it'd be the amount of jumps between a start number and our end number. So it'd be what's the difference in jumps between it? Or what's the difference in votes between the two? And then we've got total of. And the total of, when we think about totals, is combining amounts together. When we combine things, they get bigger and bigger and bigger as we include more. So we're going to have a go using some of this language to write a question about a bar chart that I've created. Okay. Remember our bar charts? Here I've got favourite animals. Okay. Just going to zoom out a little bit. Okay, favourite animals. I'm going to write a question about this bar chart on favourite animals. For some reason that keeps popping up. Okay, so I'm going to look at one question. I'm going to use some of my language here. Okay, so I'll do an example first, then you can pause the video. Then I'd like you to write an example. Okay, so my question is, and when we're writing a question, we always make sure that we use a capital letter. And if it's a question, we end it with a question mark. Okay, I'm going to look at this. Okay. Which, practicing my cursive joining, making sure it's really neat. Which animal had the least votes? Question mark. Let's see. Have I got a capital letter? Yes, I do. Have I got a question mark? Yes, I do. So, which animal did have the least votes? Think about the word least. It's the smallest amount. Okay. Which one of these animals had the least? Have a think. Shout it out at the screen. Brilliant. Horse. Yeah, absolutely right. It only had, I'm going to say, 2 votes. Well done. Why don't you have a little look at this and think, can you write a question about it? See how you get on. Share that question with a parent at home. Well done, boys and girls. You're doing really, really well. Okay. Your task today is to look at the bar chart that you created yesterday. Okay. And I want to write some questions about them. If you want to, if you haven't created a bar chart, I want you to pause the screen here. Okay. And I want to use this chart to answer some questions or to write some questions, sorry. Here's some examples. This bar chart shows the number of apples picked at an orchard, okay, each day for 1 week. Number of apples picked, days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. My increments are jumping up in 20s here. Remember we talked about increments and thinking about what that looks like when we're creating a chart. Okay, here are my questions. How many apples were picked in total? You can see that I've used some of our question writing language to help me write a good question. Total means to combine, which means we're going to be adding them up all together. My next question is, how many more were picked on Thursday than Wednesday? So what you'll need to do is you'll need to look at Wednesday and Thursday and then see if you can work out what the answer is. Here are a few of the words that I'd like you to include. More, less, fewer, than total. If you go back 3 slides, there are some other phrases which you can use too. So you can rewind the video to the one where we're writing a question together about a bar chart. And at the bottom of that slide, there are some other phrases which you can use. And those are a good idea to include. So I'm going to give you a little target. I'd like you to have a go at writing 5 or 6 questions about your bar chart. The second part of the task is to get somebody else to answer them. But you'll need to make sure that you've created an answer sheet so that you can mark the person who's answering your questions to see how many they get right. So the questions that you ask, you're going to have to solve first so that you've got the answers. You're like the teacher. And then I want to find an adult at home, or a brother, or a sister, or a sibling, and see if they can answer the questions that you've written for your bar chart. So you need to make sure that your bar chart from yesterday is accurate. You need to make sure that you're using the words that we've asked you to include. You need to make sure that they're written really, really neatly so that the person who's reading it can read it carefully. You also need to write the questions so that you can work out what the answers are, so that you can be the teacher and say, yes, well done, you've done a good job. Okay, boys and girls, so have a go, see what you get up to. Don't forget, you can always email them into us too. All right, boys and girls, keep up the hard work. You're doing a great job. Well done.